Today I want to share a Peruvian-style whole turkey recipe with you. The marinade is based on ají panca, a Peruvian chili pepper that is not spicy at all, and ají amarillo, which is a Peruvian chili pepper that is spicy. The stuffing is also Peruvian style, based on ground beef and yellow rice, and if you ask me, this is what makes this whole turkey recipe so incredible. The stuffing and the turkey combined, so good. The recipe is inspired by famous Peruvian chef Gaston Acurio. And a little disclaimer, yes, once you take the whole turkey out of the oven, it will look burnt because of the deep red color of the ají panca, but it is not burnt, trust me. It doesn't taste burnt, it doesn't smell burnt, it just looks a little dark. But I promise you, once you carve it, and I will show you how to carve it at the end of this video, it is very presentable. And the most important of everything when eating turkey is flavor anyway, right? And this one is so good. Now let's get started. All you will need is a huge pot or a bucket of some sort where most of your turkey will fit submerged in water, a roasting pan big enough to fit your turkey. I personally don't use a rack because it's easier to baste the turkey without the rack, a carving knife or a chef's knife, either will work, and lastly a baster. The night before you want to cook your turkey, I recommend brining it. Now, this is not an absolute must. You can add more salt to your marinade and it will turn out fine, but brining does offer more juiciness, so I highly recommend it. So you're going to want to add half a cup of salt and lots of water to your bucket or your bowl or your pot or whatever you have where your turkey will fit. I used a bucket. And then you're going to add your turkey in there, breast side down, and then put some cling film on top of it or aluminum foil or anything and put it in the fridge overnight. Oh, and just in case, of course, remove the giblets and the neck from the cavity of the turkey before you add them to the brine. Now, the next day you're going to take it out. You're going to want to drain all that water and then rinse the bird under running water and dry it with paper towel. Now, I can't show you any of all of this because I'm working close to my sink and my kitchen doesn't allow for me to film this part, but it's not difficult. It's just messy. So wear an apron and make sure you disinfect all and everything afterwards because we don't want any raw turkey juices lying around anywhere. Now, once you finish that and you think your bird is dry, just dry it again. Use lots and lots of paper towel to dry it. You want it to be very dry. Once you did that, you're going to set it aside and we're going to prepare the marinade. For this, you'll need a large bowl to which you'll add 1 cup of ají panca and half a cup of ají amarillo if you like it spicy, or a little less ají amarillo if you don't like it spicy. Both of these products are linked in the description. 4 cloves of crushed garlic, a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, a 1/4 cup of honey, a 1/4 cup of sea salt, 1 tablespoon cumin and 1 tablespoon oregano, black pepper to taste, 2 teaspoons of low sodium soy sauce, 1/3 cup red wine vinegar, and lastly, a 1/4 cup of pisco, which is a Peruvian hard liquor based on grapes. It gives the marinade a really great flavor, and remember, the long roasting time will make the alcohol evaporate completely. There won't be any alcohol in the marinade, no alcohol flavor. But if you prefer to not put any alcohol in your marinade, just omit this. It's perfectly fine. The marinade tastes great without it as well. Now whisk all these ingredients together and then pour them over the turkey and work the marinade in with your hands all over. My tripod is letting its head drop and I didn't realize when I was filming, but I hope you could see enough of this step. And now we're going to let the turkey marinate for 1 hour at room temperature. You do not want to return it to the fridge. We want the turkey to get to room temperature because we never want to put fridge cold poultry into the oven. It dries out the meat and it doesn't cook evenly. So unless your kitchen is 100 degrees, 1 hour outside of the fridge is perfectly safe. And while the turkey is marinating, we are going to prepare the stuffing. Yes, this kind of stuffing can be actually put into the turkey and be be all cooked at the same time in the oven. It's not a stuffing that has to be cooked separate because it doesn't contain any bread. We're going to start by cooking some rice, some yellow rice. I like using my Instant Pot for that, but of course you can cook it in a regular pot on the stove. You're going to add 1 cup of rice to your Instant Pot, half a teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, and 1 cup of water. And then you're going to mix this all and then set the Instant Pot to 3 minutes on high pressure and let pressure release naturally. Now, while the rice is cooking, we're going to prepare the rest of the stuffing. For that, you're going to want to preheat a large pan over medium heat. And once it's hot, add a drizzle of avocado oil. And then stir fry a cup of chopped red onion and 2 cloves of chopped garlic in it until translucent. Then add a teaspoon of ají amarillo and stir for a few seconds before adding a pound of lean ground beef. Break the beef up a little before adding sea salt and pepper to taste, as well as a teaspoon of cumin, and then break it up further so it can fry evenly. Once the beef is nice and brown, add half a cup of roasted peanuts, half a cup of raisins, a 1/4 cup chopped parsley, and lastly, the yellow rice that should be done by now. Now turn off the heat and give this all a good stir and set it aside until the turkey's marinating hour is over. About 10 to 15 minutes before your marinating time is over, preheat your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit and start stuffing your turkey. All that stuffing that we made in the pan, we're going to put into the cavity of the turkey. Then add some slices of cold butter all over the turkey and 1 cup of water to the bottom of the roasting pan. And now before I put the turkey in the oven, let me show you how to measure the internal temperature of the turkey. Once you approach the end of the roasting time, you're going to want to measure in the center of the thickest part of the breast, but sticking the thermometer in horizontally, not vertically. That's how you get the most accurate measurement. Also, don't shove it in too deep where you touch the bone, just right into the center. At this point, we're ready to put the turkey into the 450 degree Fahrenheit preheated oven and then immediately turn down the heat to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. This step is very, 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 very important, or else your turkey will burn from the outside and be raw on the inside. We want it to be 325. The reason we're preheating to 450 is to really get that turkey to get somewhat hot at the very beginning so it cooks nice and evenly, but the actual cooking temperature should be 325 throughout. Now, to determine the roasting time of your turkey, you should calculate 15 minutes per pound. And about 30 minutes before you calculate time, you should start measuring the internal temperature every 10 minutes to ensure that you pull the bird out when it has 155 degrees internal temperature. The reason we're pulling it out at 155 instead of 165 is because during the resting time, the temperature will still rise and we don't want to get the bird too hot or else the meat will be dry. So many reasons for the meat to be dry. Another thing that we're going to do while the turkey is roasting in the oven is basting it every 30 minutes. I recommend you set a timer every 30 minutes and you baste it. I know it's kind of annoying to babysit it, but it's so worth it. Your bird will be much juicier if you take that time and baste it. So for that, every 30 minutes, you just grab some of the drippings and the water and all of that and you put it on top of the bird. Also, my oven isn't perfectly level, so the drippings and the water usually tend to travel to the front of my pan, and at the back I risk some of the marinade burning. So I also make sure that I take some of that liquid with my baster and I pour it to the back of my pan so nothing burns there. I recommend you check on that as well in your oven, and then you will have incredible juicy meat and a delicious dripping to use as a gravy later. If you notice throughout the roasting time that you're running out of liquid, then always just add a little bit more water, perfectly fine. Once the turkey is done, take it out of the oven and let it rest at least 30 minutes before carving it so it can redistribute its juices and so you don't burn your hands when you cut it. To carve it, what you'll want to do is use a large rimmed baking sheet for the first cuts instead of a cutting board, or else a ton of juices will run onto your counter. Cut along the thigh to cut through the skin, and then use your hands to pull the leg away from the bird until you pop the joint. Then cut in between the joint to fully remove the thigh and drumstick. Never cut through bone. Once you pop the joint, it should be easy to cut through. You shouldn't need much force at all to be able to do that. Then repeat the same process on the other side. To cut out the breast, cut along the breastbone first and use your hands to pull away so you know exactly where to cut. And then also cut in horizontally from the side. Repeat the same process on the other side. And lastly, cut away the wings, same as with the legs, pulling them away from the bird to pop the joint. Then on a large cutting board, you can separate the thighs from the drumsticks by first cutting and then popping the joint and then cutting again. If you want, you can also completely remove the thigh bone at this point, so you can have some meat for the bone lovers and some for the bone haters. You can repeat the same process for the wings as well. Now for the breasts, I like to smother the marinade around a little more and then cutting it into thin stripes for easy serving. At this point, we are ready to plate this delicious turkey. You can go about this any way you like, really. I usually add the thighs to the center first and then arrange the breasts on the edges. And then I place the wings and drumsticks at the top until I'm happy with how it looks. And then to make it extra pretty and colorful, I add some lemon slices and fresh herbs such as thyme and sage. The drippings in the pan are already fairly thick because of the ají panca, so I personally don't make a gravy with the drippings, but instead just use them as they are for gravy. They are delicious, but of course, if you prefer, you can make a full-on gravy with some cornstarch and some chicken stock and make it a little bit more liquid. I just use it the way it is. And the stuffing I add to a big bowl so everybody can serve themselves some turkey, some stuffing, and then the drippings on top of this. And then one thing I completely forgot to add to my plate in the video, but it's very, very, very delicious with this, is fresh applesauce. This is what Peruvians love adding to their turkey, just on the side as a little extra sauce. It's so good. It rounds up all the flavors, gives a little extra sweetness. I hope you're going to give this turkey recipe a try. If you do, please don't forget to snap a picture. I have to see this, and I'll see you with my next video. Bye.